No, just got
Okay.
back from the gym again.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Bubba and
And the Filipina.
show. And tonight we have special guest Dave Phelps stopping by. We're going to talk a little bit about the Asian Summit, what little bit we know.
So little.
Yeah, it struck me that the only thing I really heard about was a handshake and the fact that Trump actually met with the Prime Minister of India, Modi. It struck me that the only thing I really heard about was a. There we go, much better
Oh,
now. Sorry about that. Um,
this feedback.
but I guess they are. They've kind of become buddies, and India is definitely a rising power. I would say
Hmm.
uh, in the world of in Asian politics. Anyway, I mean they have so many people. They're really kind of hard to overlook. Oh, they got a. Well, you've been to India, correct, Dave?
Bombay.
Okay. Bombay, it's not just a gin.
No, Bombay. The girls know what I'm talking about.
What?
Bombay.
Mumbai.
Bombay.
Yeah.
I so 5-6 Mobile.
They when they talk about the Indian nationality, Bombay is like onion.
Yeah. It's a
Oh.
different. It's a different word for onion.
Okay. So India is like an onion.
Okay, so here's the deal. India is not only an emerging economy, but it's an emerging superpower because it has nuclear capabilities. It has nuclear weapons. Its nuclear weapons are predicated on a need for two bordering neighbors, India and Pakistan. Pakistan has nukes. I'm sorry, China and Pakistan,
Mm-hmm.
and China has nukes. Therefore, India had to have nukes. The Indians and the Chinese have traditionally not gotten along. There's been conflict along those borders. Indians have held their borders pretty stably compared to their borders with Pakistan. So yeah, I would say that India is definitely a superpower, not a first world superpower, but a superpower nonetheless.
Hmm.
Yeah,
As
they definitely have a top 10 Navy, easily.
Really?
yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
India's got a very impressive Navy.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's the first time I've heard of that.
Yeah, actually, their Navy
How come?
would pound China's Navy into
Mm-hmm.
uh, dust, I guess, for
Well,
lack of a better term.
so
Oh.
there's the thing. If Trump is making if Trump is making overtures to meeting and being friends with Prime Minister Modi of India,
Mm-hmm.
that's indicative of a move not necessarily against the Chinese, but a warning to the Chinese not to try anything. The Chinese do not have a deep water navy. They have one aircraft carrier. That's why they keep building these islands out of the South China Seas.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and their aircraft carrier, which is brand new, which is actually two now.
mm,
But the newest one that they have, it's pretty much a soup can.
right.
Ford or a Nimitz class, which would annihilate it in no time. And they're two generations behind as far as takeoff and landing technology. They still have to use a ski slope. U.S. aircraft carriers, even during World War II, didn't have ski slopes.
Right. So what I think Trump was trying to do today, and I think this is the overture for the entire thing, was to get a consensus among Southeast Asian powers in the region as to how they're going to defend. Now, what it looks like so far is he's courting Vietnam because initially the president of the Philippines, and I don't know if this is true anymore or not, wasn't interested in U.S. military bases back in the Philippines at all. But Vietnam said, "Hey, we're interested," and the U.S. is like, "Oh, okay, cool." So the U.S. is looking for a place to park its fleet, and to stage air bases and sorties out of. That's essential to protecting our friends here in the region. Um, we'll see over the next few days what Duterte says about U.S. military presence. I mean, we already know the U.S. military is present in Mindanao in some way, shape, or form. But will there become a permanent U.S. military presence? Hopefully, by the end of this, we'll know.
That's another thing too about Vietnam is China invaded Vietnam in 1979, and I think China got about 6 or 12 miles into Vietnam, and then the Vietnamese stopped them dead in their tracks. And the Chinese were banking on them fighting a conventional war. The Vietnamese aren't stupid. They realize if they fight a conventional war, they would lose. So they basically used the same tactics they used against the U.S. when the U.S. was in Vietnam. So, that I think that could definitely be a future beneficial relationship to both countries.
So yeah, you made some good points about the history, but I think the thing that's concerning to maybe to the Philippine people, but to the United States that want to secure our friends here in the Philippines is whether we're going to stage out of the Philippines or whether we're going to stage out of Vietnam or Indonesia or somewhere or Malaysia. I think that the United States would prefer to stage out of the Philippines to protect the region because we've traditionally been friends.
Yeah, when you're trying to really be buddy buddy with China, you're really dancing with the devil.
Well, I don't think anybody is under the illusion that we're going to be buddy buddy with China. China has economic ties to the United States, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I think that we have the ability to shape China's behavior in the region more than we want to get credit for. The one thing you keep hearing people say in the American media and in other media is, well, the Chinese, they have the largest ground force in the world. If you can't project your forces into a theater, then it doesn't matter if you have half of the world on your side. You still can't do it.
Yeah,
The one thing the United States has the ability to do is project a force in less than 24 hours in most cases anywhere in the world. That's one of the reasons people want to be our friends.
and here's the funny thing. I laugh when I hear that because the Chinese spend $1,500 per soldier. The United States spends $18,000 per
Wow.
soldier. So basically, a Chinese, you got U.S. law enforcement guys who, like county deputies, are generally probably better armed and have more money spent on their uniforms and everything than the average Chinese soldier does. So they're really very overrated.
No, I could tell you this: the average P&P police officer. I always use the term police officer loosely. They're very militarized here. Is dressed to the nines in their gear. Anytime I go to Jinsan, I see the P&P, and they're dressed like professional soldiers.
Yeah, so the Chinese are very, very overrated.
Agreed.
So, and manpower, that only gets you so far. Korea proved that. Because the Chinese would do human wave assaults and they would just get mowed down like grass.
So I've pretty much come to the end of my regional knowledge, so I should probably step off and let you guys figure things out.
Yeah.
Okay, no
We
problem.
can't comment on anything because we don't know anything about it.
Just try to
Okay. That's really, really important.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, appreciate you coming on, Dave.
Not a problem. Peace.
Yes.
Where are you staying, Dave? We're here in the Philippines.
Dave, you there?
Oh, is he
Already.
gone? He went out.
Yeah, he's off. Okay. So,
So, um, you guys are implying that a lot of the um, a lot of the stuff that has happened during the APEC had military motives, economic and military motives as well.
well, like you said, like Louis made a good point, is I think in a nutshell, a lot of this is going to be about terrorism and security
Mm-hmm.
because now you don't hear about it, but China has also had issues with extremism in their westernmost province, which is called
Mm-hmm.
Xinjiang.
What about it?
Well, they've had problems there too with Muslim extremism.
Muslims?
Oh yeah, they got Muslims in China.
Oh.
Certain parts of China has. Pero I think they cover up the news because they want to maintain the economic stability of their country.
As a
I've,
matter,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Louis.
I've heard earlier during the Duterte's opening speech that uh, their concern is mostly on ICE and more of security because it will be one of the pillars of economic growth. Because if there's always a threat in your country, no one would invest or try to do trades in your country. So that's why this their primary agenda for now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They've had problems with Muslim
Oh,
extremists in Xinjiang province, and as a matter of fact, in order to go there, you need a special permit, a special visa. It's like Tibet. Not just I could get a visa to go to China, but in order to go to Tibet or to go to Xinjiang, I would have to have another special visa in order to enter those areas because they've had problems with Muslim extremists, and that area also borders. Well, I know it borders Russia on part of it, but I'm not sure what the other neighbor is on the other side. Forgive me, my Asia Asia geography isn't what it should be. I don't think
don't
so.
we don't also know much of geography.
Oh, really?
Kazakhstan. It
Mm.
borders it borders Kazakhstan, which is a predominantly Muslim country.
Ah, that's why.
So okay, that makes sense. But yeah, they've had issues with them too. So I wouldn't see any reason why terrorism and secure regional security wouldn't be an issue there.
Okay.
Uh,
How come? How could you say that that India has a really good military
well,
status or standpoint?
well,
How come some?
their navy is excellent, and they kind of have to be in a state of war, generally war footing anyway, because
Mm.
them and Pakistan do not. There's no love lost between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Pakistan used to be a part of India
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
up but see, Pakistan's predominantly Muslim. India is predominantly Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
oh,
So that's where a lot of the disagreements come in. You also, of course, you do have Muslims in India, and you also have Sikhs.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the three, Hinduism is by far the largest religion. So them and I guess the easiest way to put it is Hinduism. They have something like 3,000 different gods. Um, Islam preaches to only says Islam only has one. So you have the monotheism and the polytheism thing going at each other. Damn dog.
Louis, what can you say about it? You're good in history, right?
the Philippines created, yes. Probably I'm much better. But of course, religion is always the main one of the main points of conflict among countries. So whenever that's the agenda, there's always a big problem in between countries. So yeah, probably say much because I don't know Indian history. But there are a lot of revolutions that started from religious conflicts, even in Catholic or in other countries. So there.
Well, they have India and China don't get along either because they share a border, and the Chinese have repeatedly made incursions across the border. Of course, the Indians always throw them back, but also too by I think it's 2050, India's gonna have a larger population than China.
Yeah,
Really?
in
Wow.
Yeah.
I think
India has
Wow.
1.2 billion people now. China has 1.4 billion.
Wow. Is that because of the one-child policy?
Yeah, a lot of that is China's
China?
one-child policy, but it's also backfired on them because you have 30 million more men than women in China now.
Mm.
And,
oh, I
and
didn't
in
know it.
China, the kids support the parents when the parents get older.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when you only have,
You
okay,
pop.
your daughter gets married, well, they both have to support four people plus their children. And e- financially, that's not easy to do. So it's kind of it backfired on them. That's why now they're allowing people to have two children.
Oh, it's very hard
Just
for.
like in Japan, which has a graying population.
Like what?
Japan. Oh, can't you hear me?
Yeah, I hear
Just
you.
like Japan, which has a gray population.
Yes, they do have a growing population. Okay, I'm gonna.
Uh,
Dave kind of covered this a bit on his show,
mhm.
but what do you ladies think of PDA
What's that?
with public display of affection?
Total change of topics, huh?
Wait, I'm sorry.
I thought it's the Philippine Dental Association.
What's that?
It's a different kind of PDA. Philippine Dental Association.
We thought about Philippine Dental Association.
Oh yeah,
From war to love.
that's funny.
Yeah, Baba. What do I think about it? I think it's okay.
Okay, well, I mean, okay,
Depends on which country you are at, though.
Well, it depends. Eh. There are more appropriate actions in certain
Per
places.
country.
Yeah.
So
okay,
I don't have an issue with public display of affection. That's just for me. I don't know for other people.
okay. Well, now, where do you think the line should be drawn?
It depends. Just like what Louis said, there are appropriate actions per place or per environment or whoever it is surrounding you, whatever.
Yeah, you just can't
How about
do
you, Baba?
certain areas.
I think holding hands or having your arm around somebody else is fine.
I think
You know,
it's fine.
I
Do
don't think you should be like kissing all over
Yeah,
each
yeah,
other
yeah,
and all
yeah.
that stuff.
Mhm.
So
That's your line.
yeah, I think there's a proper place for every action. So depends where you are, right? If if
yes,
one student, if I caught one of my students kissing inside my class, I should let them out
Why?
because it's not the right place.
Oh, I thought you're jealous. Joke.
Why would I?
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
that's a good example.
so,
yeah. That's funny. Okay, so what'd you guys do over the weekend?
Oh, we didn't have a weekend, Baba. We continued working until Saturday, and then Sunday we went to Manila.
Go
And
shopping.
because we spent most of the week on here on south of Manila, Alabang. We did not receive the news that a lot of the highways are gonna be closed due to this APEC summit. So we were there back at Louis' house in Manila. We were trying to do other stuff like buying giveaways for everyone. And then we were not informed that a lot of the roads are gonna be closed. So yeah, it's such a hassle. Everyone does not have access to public transportation. There are buses, but just not enough for the number of people that are going north. So that's just in a micro standpoint. That's how we were affected by
With the
this APEC summit because the government does not want to hassle the delegates or it does not want to get embarrassed, but at the same time they don't have a substitute or they don't have another plan for the proper transportation routes for the public vehicles and the private vehicles and public transport. So yeah, we walked a really long span, and we were carrying a lot of heavy baggages. And that sums up our Sunday. So back to Monday again.
Oh, okay.
How
Yeah.
about your weekend, Baba?
My weekend was okay. It was work. That's it.
So
work
it's not
home.
So,
necessarily a weekend. It
It's a
shouldn't.
work
It's a work day.
day.
okay. Yes, love those work days. I don't get a day off. I even work Monday mornings now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why
They're quiet.
you were up early.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we plan on working hard this week because next week we're gonna go on a vacation for 4 days. So
You're
Cool.
right.
So you'll be gone Monday.
yeah,
Will you be gone Monday or?
we're
I
gonna be
think
gone Tuesday.
Tuesday to Friday.
Oh, cool. Well, work week too. That's a great
And
time to go on
then
vacation.
yeah, work week. Yeah, after the long holiday, when people
Well,
had already spent their money.
what's that?
To spend our
people
money.
people already spent their money during this long APEC summit, so we don't necessarily expect them to go to the dentist. So that's when we
Oh,
schedule their uh,
Trip.
vacation.
okay.
So we're gonna go to this place in Visayas in Siquijor. It's really bothering me
I'm planning
Oh,
because it says
a horror prank.
that the place has access to the spiritual world and dark magic. So I'm really scared. I hope they don't prank me. Do
yeah.
you believe in those stuff,
Not really.
Baba? Oh, really? Well,
No, I think a lot of it's. I
Have you
think
seen
what do you say?
I just think a lot of it's like fables.
Mm, okay. I hope so.
How about you, Ken? Do you believe in ghosts?
Me?
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. I've never seen one.
Have
You
you
guys are
experienced?
just scaring me. Don't want to see one. Yeah, so
Oh.
that's it. Mhm.
Mm, it's not good to see one.
Have you seen
Okay.
one?
No. A ghost? No.
Hello?
Hello, Louie.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Have you ever seen a ghost, Louie?
I haven't seen one, but I saw someone that is being what do you like an exorcism.
Possessed.
Yeah.
Not. Yeah.
So like one of our house helper was being
Possessed.
possessed by a spirit. So there. I've seen one when I was about 14 years old. So that's the only time
And then
that
what happened?
I believe on them. Because before I don't believe in ghosts. So there.
How did
Okay.
you say that your house helper was possessed?
Because I saw her levitate from the bed.
Did you really?
Ah,
You
Well,
weren't,
a lot
you
of the
weren't
people
like,
saw it, not just her, I think.
okay.
uh,
I was going to ask, were you drinking?
I was drunk.
She was young.
I was like 14
She was
that
like,
time, around 12 or 14. And it was daylight, like 12 noon. So
oh
there.
yeah. I hope it does. It's not real in real life.
I hope it will not happen to us in Sikihor. At Sikihor.
Now, how about conspiracy theories?
Like,
Uh, like, have you ever heard of the Bilderbergs or anything like that?
what's that?
The Bilderbergs?
No.
Haven't heard of it.
What's that, Baba?
Bilderbergs is a group
Bilderberg?
of very rich, powerful, elite people who have meetings and say things on how they're going to plan on how they're going to control the monetary system, the media, everything.
Oh, okay. That's not impossible to happen because a lot of those people had access to dark what do you call this? The dark net. They have all the access to large companies.
Yeah.
Bilderberg Group. Okay.
Yep, the Bilderberg Group.
120 to 150 people of European and North American political elite, experts from industry, finance, academia. Oh, when
You're
have you
reading.
first heard about this?
Oh, I've known about it for years.
So, what can you say about this?
They're
Like,
very they're very secretive. Wherever they have a meeting, there's tons of security. I
oh,
mean, tons of security. You think it would
so
be it would be like the
political,
Asian summit.
yeah,
Security.
European and North American political rich family origins. So maybe these 1%, less than 1% of the population owns more than 80%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
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 Mm,
Okay. So
really?
tell me, how is your training coming along?
Training.
You're doing more. Oh, my mind went blank. Implants.
Yeah. Um, I'm still on the process of um acquiring the special equipments. So I'm reserving my budget for our trip first, and then when we get home, that's when I'll deal with it. So Louis and I are trying to train with different specialists from different disciplines. So for the implant training, I'm done, but in order to be a specialist, I have to have a number of cases that are well documented and are successful, and then that's when I will try to present it to the board. That's my current state right now. Trying to get the numbers.
Oh, you have to do so many, or
Yeah, for the first part, in order to be recognized as a member, I think I guess around 10. So in order to be a specialist, I have to have at least 50. And that number is not that it's not that easy to acquire, because in our area the implant dentistry is not that very much recognized or acceptable, which I believe that it should be, because it's a lot more advantageous as opposed to other kinds of treatment. So
okay,
we're trying to what do you call this, expand our market. So that's what Louie and I are trying to do nowadays. But in the middle of it, we kind of just like go to the mall, stuff, and buy
Cute
collagen.
stuff.
Just kidding.
go.
Yeah, most of the time. Just kidding.
Well, I think in the near future, people will start to accept implants. So,
Here in the Philippines, and especially in our area. On other areas, it's already acceptable. And of course, before people go to our clinic for consultation and those kinds of more radical and more expensive, uh, although it's not radical, more expensive procedures, they first have to uh, prove that we are good practitioners. So they start with simple procedures, and then the next are root canal surgeries, and then uh, and then we hope in the future people go to our clinic for more specialized procedures.
Okay, do you think a lot of it might be income related?
Yeah, of course.
well, factor because finances will always be one of the
This
biggest
one of the deciding factors for the
first.
choice of the treatment plan, and patient
Okay,
acceptability, and of course our ability to explain the advantages. Yeah, a lot of the well, if we take into consideration the income, it is they can really a lot of the people in the area where our clinic exists, they can really afford to have implants. But sometimes people tend to buy like technological gadgets first, car, those kinds of stuff like iPhone. The down payment for the car that the lowest down payment for the car that we've seen in the mall is just 4,000 pesos.
And everyone can afford 4,000 pesos. So I think awareness is also a big factor. So because they have their own priorities. So the last thing that the least of their priorities is their dental health. So
Yeah, but
probably
we're
that's
gonna get
why.
for now, we're gonna go on vacation. Excited.
yes, and tell us what exactly your agenda is on your vacation, your itinerary.
Okay, we're gonna
Viva
make a
YOLO!
YOLO. It's a YOLO trip. It's a you only live once trip.
So we're gonna do some things that
We
we didn't do
we
yet.
have
We haven't
we
done
have
yet.
a list of dares that no one should avoid. No one should say no. Like instead of driving through a drive-through station at the McDo,
We're gonna
I'm gonna
walk
dare I'm gonna dare Louis to walk
and
instead of
ask.
drive.
Okay, now what's the timeline between the teeth extraction and inserting implants?
It
Well,
depends on the present condition, because um, if the present condition of a tooth is not acutely infected, an immediate implant placement can be done. A lot of factors has to be considered, such as, first off, more importantly, the systemic condition of the patient and the availability of the bone. And of course, the absence of infection on the periphery. So a lot of those factors affect the success rate of an implant. So immediate implants can be done, yes, especially for those patients who require highly aesthetic restorations immediately, for those who are always speaking, or like actresses, models. So those can be done. But ideally speaking, after tooth extraction, you have to wait for 6 months before you put an implant. That's the ideal timeline,
And why is that?
because the bone forms from 3 to 6 months. So w- when you wait for 6 months, the bone is gonna be stable enough to have a stable implant, because the most important factor in the success rate of an implant is its stability and its avoidance to the adjacent vital structures, and the absence of infection, of course. Really strict control protocols.
Okay.
That's what we follow in the clinic. Louis is strict also with that infection control.
I'm the boss. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you really the boss?
I'm just joking. I'm
She's
the
the
boss.
boss of the
During
clinic.
the
She
holiday.
scolds her. She scolds her students.
Oh no, it's not. That's not true.
Just kidding. Yeah, that.
Only the boss when it's time to call for holiday or early out or dine out.
She
There's
leaves. She leaves right on the dot.
all of that.
Okay, what are the pros and cons of
Of
what you do? What do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
about
About
what? About what?
Dentistry.
sense,
Ah, you first, Louis.
pros and cons. Well, pros. You can. There are a lot of opportunities in dentistry. You can be a dentist. Can be a researcher. You can be a teacher. You can
Professor.
an analyst, representative. So there are a lot of opportunities. And other than that, if you have your own clinic, you can declare your own holiday.
Which is every day for us.
But on the other hand, the cons of it is that you're bound to your work. So if there's a call for emergency, still you have to do it. And there are moral boundaries and ethics in dental profession. So
Yeah, I believe so.
yeah, most of the time you are bound by the patient's wants and your professional
Ideal treatment plans.
or ideal treatment plans for the patient. So you want to be balanced and equal, that you will meet your patient's request or wants, but not overdoing. That's against the principles or rules of dentistry. I'll be there.
For me, tapos ka na? Are you done?
Okay.
Are
There
you
are a lot.
finally done,
Are you
Louis?
done, Louis?
If I will say everything, I think we'll have 3 hours more.
That's okay. Say it.
Okay, go ahead. I'll
Say
just
what you
add.
need to say. Let it all hang out.
Go ahead.
Ako na ba? Ina. Okay, it's my turn. Anyway, I think one of the pros, the advantages of dentistry is that you get to meet a lot of people. You get to have a lot of connections, and you get to have a lot. Your patients you
Here.
treat your patients become your friends and almost relatives. You get to have you are interconnected. Uh, One of the pros is also that you have your own time. Like if someone's gonna decide when you are gonna go out of the clinic, it's you because you're the boss. Or that's for the clinic owners only. So
Sometimes it's your need to have patience and work.
yeah,
But it's
but you have to be in balance between having your own leisure time and working for the sake of you paying and getting your money for the overhead expense and managing your own business. One of the pros also is that you can get to decide for yourself. You learn to be independent in a way that um, there is nobody else that can be blamed for the work except for you. So, of course, if you're the owner or you're the senior dentist, everything else points to you. So, you need to have a really good job
so
for
since
everything. That's
the senior
yeah,
dentist, since you are the senior dentist,
yeah,
so all the responsibility is yours.
yeah. And yeah, one of the cons is that uh, the less you work, the less you also have money. You don't have a fixed pay in a sense that the money in terms of financials, the money goes to the clinic first. It has to be invested in the um, improvement of the facilities and the improvement of the practitioners, such as trainings. Um, there, I think that's the main cons. And also, there are no other people that are gonna be responsible for your work except for yourself. So
Okay.
that's
Graham,
basically it.
Graham asked there are different types of implants.
Mm-hmm.
What is the best for the long term?
Okay. So there are hundreds or thousands of um, implant brands in the world, but they follow the same mechanism. As long as you follow the system's recommendations, such as the initial stability of the implant, and you follow all the technical considerations, such as bone availability, avoidance of the vital structures. You have to make sure that the field is sterile. I think a lot of the implant systems work almost of the same way, except for now, of course. It is highly Our technology is highly improving, so they add features that roughen the design of the implant, which means that a lot of the implant systems now are going in towards higher stability. The implant systems work in the same way, but I think um, Ger- German brands such as Trinon or Straumann is really existed longer in the market, which means it has more documented success rates because um, of its longer existence in the market. The Trinon brand that we are using right now is a self-tapping brand. This means that it expands the bone by it by itself. So I guess if I'm gonna have to choose a system, it is a German brand, such as this Trinon. I have yet to try other implant systems as I am new to the discipline. I can only read research and journals. about this, but all say that, but they all say the same thing. If you follow the protocol or the guidance that the manufacturers or the dental books say, you put you have lower failure rate. So yeah, I guess that a lot of the implant systems work the same way. It just depends on how it is put or the experience of the practitioner or the dental practitioner, something like that. That's it. The most famous brands right now are here in the Philippines are Strawman. It is a German brand. Trinon and Ostem. A lot a lot of the brands here are Korean brands.
Okay. Huh. Now you don't you but no glue.
No glue.
Blue.
You want to try to gram? You want to try? You want to try, Baba?
Do I want to try what?
Glue?
Ask
Glue?
her.
I don't think you use glue for an implant. It don't you put like
Just kidding.
a
No, no,
post
no.
in, like
Oh,
a
no,
post
no.
it.
You don't put glue. You only put the post
You screw it.
and you screw it to the bone. And then the bone cells overgrow through the surface of the implants, which is called osseointegration. It integrates with the implant. It is the only metal, the titanium is the only metal which is compatible with the bone. The bone accepts it as itself rather than rejects it. So it does not have to be glued inside. It has to be retained mechanically, such as its screw tapering mechanisms, roughened surfaces.
Okay. Interesting. You sounds like you ladies do a lot of research.
Yeah, we do a lot of research because we like to provide the service that we would provide to our relatives as well or to ourselves. So we have to be well informed about what we're gonna do, or else if we are well informed, we lower the chances of failure. So we make sure we try to, through as much as possible, learn about what new techniques we're implying. It A lot of the procedures that we do in the clinic are evidence based, journal based. So Louie and I reads a lot of journals whenever it is needed.
Okay, well that's cool. Now, would you say the Korean brands are a better brand, or would you say the German brands are better, or is there any U.S. brands?
Mm, Lou, do you know of any US brands manufactured in the US? Louis?
Louis, did we put you to sleep?
Well, what are the implant brands in the US? Dentchum. Well, Baba, because a lot of it works like this. Um, the let's say for example, a Dentchum. Dentchum is also an implant brand that I use. It is owned by a US company and manufactured in Korea. Do you get it?
Yes,
So
I
I
do.
can't really say which implant is better versus which one because um, different sites in the mouth require different kinds of implants. Like for example, this particular brand does not have a system for a sinus lift,
Hmm.
or it does not have a system for this particular case. So it it basically just depends on the procedure itself, because a lot of the implant brands right now are standardized. Like for example, the screws are standardized so that whenever a crown gets loosened, it can be corrected or re-cemented by another dentist. And a lot of its features are the same with other brands. So I used uh my choice of implants depends on the case. Like for immediate implants, the German brand, I like to use it because of it expands the bone. Some kind of the features like that. It's more on technical, but basically, you can't really say which one is better than the other because a lot of the technology right now are going to that direction to improving all the features of an implant. Just like cars, cell phones, stuff like that.
Okay, here's a
Louis
question.
lost connection.
Yeah, I know. She just messaged me. Okay, let me ask you this. If somebody needed a root canal, rather than get a root canal, could they just opt to get an implant?
Yes, of course. Root canal, I only opt to propose a root canal treatment to a patient whenever the tooth is still intact. Like for example, for trauma cases, the patient hit himself, blah blah. If the tooth has a support after the implant, after the root canal, I would have it retained. But if the tooth is already like one third of its crown and it does not have a support, it needs to have crowns or posts or whatever more complicated procedures. Better have it extracted than put an implant. Because in the long run, especially for molar teeth, um, if the anatomy of the tooth is too complicated and the practitioner is not that confident with doing a root canal treatment, which is more complicated to molars, better have it extracted and prepared for an implant. Because when the root canal is not done properly, it will be reinfected, and the tooth loses its moisture. The tooth loses its moisture. So in time, it kind of breaks down as opposed to a dental implant, which does not. So yeah, probably if the tooth is too small or too infected, better have it extracted. The dentist will decide, of course, depends on the capacity and the ability of the dentist.
Okay. Um, Now, how much does the implant cost?
Mm, and the implant costs around here around 50 to 60,000 pesos, including the
Okay.
crown. For other practitioners who are using the same brand, they charge 120 to 150 for the German brand.
Wow, that's like $3,000.
Yeah. They have, because those dentists are specialists. So you actually pay for their education and their
Oh, cool.
experience. Yeah. So that's what we are trying to achieve. But right now, um, we only have a couple of patients and a lot of inquiries actually. So yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay,
So
so
an interesting thing happened to me this afternoon
okay,
in the
what?
clinic. I was left alone in the alone with my dental assistant because Louis wasn't able to go to the clinic. So I was having a patient on the cubicle, and then I heard this lady around She's around 49 to 50 years old. She was referred by my other patients who are principals of this principal teachers, administrators of a certain school. And then they were asking if that's the clinic that their friend referred them to, because their friend and all their church mates said that the dentist in the clinic is really good and um, really informative. So they were looking at me like, "Are you the dentist? You look like a high school student."
What you
Oh
should
my
have said,
gosh.
you should have said, no, I'm a
It
middle
was
school
so
student.
funny.
You
It
should have
was
said,
so funny. They don't understand. They don't believe that they are in the right clinic. Oops.
you could
There.
always,
Hmm?
what you should have said was, no, I'm actually a middle school student, and I come
Yeah.
here and I impersonate a dentist so I can make some money. Okay,
I
now
always get that. I always get that comment.
that's funny.
I just
Now,
laugh.
now, do you offer discounts if somebody say wants to get three or four?
Through 3 or 4.
Yeah, if somebody say if they wanted more than one implant, they wanted like four or five.
Yeah,
Okay, so
of
you
course.
offer a bulk rate discount.
Yeah, of course. We will give discounts, but first, um, it needs to be diagnosed if those 4 implants are really can have bone support for those edentulous areas. So if it turns out that they need 4 or 5, of course we will provide discounts. Yep.
Oh, okay. Could you well couldn't you just like maybe take some wood and a couple screws and make like a support there? Put
We
the
can.
implants in?
Can you would you like me to do that to you?
Sure. As long as I don't feel any pain, I don't care.
I'm just kidding. No,
Could
of
I
course not.
could I
It
could
will be
somebody
infected.
could somebody get like vampire teeth?
Oh yeah, we made vampire teeth on ourselves during Halloween,
Oh,
and
really?
we can't eat. It's really hard.
Oh,
We'll send you the picture later.
okay.
We took it out as soon as we felt the need to have lunch. It only looks really good, but it's you really can't chew with those fangs,
Oh,
vampire
okay.
fangs.
Did not know that.
Yeah, because it's not your range of motion will be hindered by the fangs. You can't eat on the side, on the right, on the left.
Okay.
You'll just bite your lips.
Oh, that could be very
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Graham thought if somebody has a row of four teeth, they will only need two screws.
Huh?
Graham, I thought a row of four teeth will only need two
Row?
screws.
Row 40? What's that?
Four teeth. Like if somebody had four teeth, say in the front put in, would they? How many screws would they need? Would it be four? Would it be two? Or
If they only had
can you?
if they only had how many teeth left? Baba?
Uh, I don't know. Have to ask Graham.
If no teeth are left, how many implants are needed?
Yeah, if somebody wanted implants, like four implants, how many screws would they need?
Ah, when you say implants, you're talking about the screw. So when a patient does not have teeth at all, is that what you're asking?
Or
Yeah.
no connection.
Okay. If a patient does not have
Alam mo, chikinet mo na
a
to.
tooth, wait,
Have you used
wait a minute,
your
Louis
internet
talking.
too much? I've got it off. So, nandito na siya sa kanto.
Okay, somebody needs
So,
to mute their volume.
She's talking. She doesn't know. She doesn't know she's talking.
Oh.
Anyway, going back, there are a lot of options for patients who doesn't have any teeth.
wala. Ano ko sila?
Sometimes it has to be sometimes it has to be the dentures have to be retained. It depends on the kind of restoration that they want or their economic capacity to pay. Because um, the more ideal plan would be one implant per tooth. That's the ideal load that an implant can resist over time, over the years. But sometimes, if the patient is only on a budget of this amount, or the bone does not have already receded, they can only put a number. So that's when the im- the implants that support that's when the restorations are bridges. So if it's a bridge, they need around 6. If it's a denture, they need around 4 in the upper. In the lower, they need around 2 to retain the denture. But the patient still have to wear a denture.
Now, now, if somebody has to get them,
Hmm?
now, if somebody needed to get, okay, if somebody's had bone loss, what do you do then?
It depends on the area. Sometimes if the bone loss is located on the upper maxillary zone, upper maxillary sinus lift has to be done. If it is located on the
The
Baba,
hell is that? That's not me.
that's not me too. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud. I can hear you slowly. Sounds like she's taking a bath.
I don't.
Wow.
Static.
Yeah, big time.
I told her to mute the mic. There it is.
Thank you. Well, I could have.
Okay.
I was fixing to
Oh,
mute her.
there it goes again. Okay. Okay. There are options to regain back the bone. One of the options is to use a bone graft. Either either is Baba, what's that?
I'm trying to mute her, and it's not working. Ah, I know how to do it. There we go. Can you hear me? Hello.
I muted myself.
Oh, you didn't have to mute yourself.
I I accidentally I thought I muted Louis.
Oh no, you can. I can only
Oh,
mute Louis
you're
because
the one
I'm
controlling.
the moderator.
Okay. Anyway, if you have bone loss, there are other options such as bone grafts. Of course, the decision to do a bone graft depends on the site and the nature of the bone loss. The kind of graft depends on the amount of bone that you have to regain. There are a lot of options. Some uses bovine bone, bovine synthetic bone. Some harvests bone on the other side of the jaw to
Just
put
don't buy
together.
the Chinese jawbones.
Yeah.
We know where they come
Crazy.
from.
Crazy.
Okay, it's Graham says it
Correct.
sounds like it's cheaper just to remove all the teeth and start over again, like dentures.
Yeah, but it's really hard to use a denture. Super, super hard.
Is it?
Yeah. Especially if you don't have any more teeth.
So it's really hard to use a denture if you don't have any more teeth?
Uh, well, as opposed to having natural teeth, of course,
Well,
it's
yeah.
not it's not even comparable because you get to feel where the food is, you know where it is. You can taste it as opposed to having a denture. It surrounds the salivary as not salivary the taste buds.
Okay, and
So yeah.
it affects the
Mm,
taste buds.
yep.
I was going to say taste buds.
Taste
Okay,
taste, sorry. Taste
let's try it
buds.
here. Hello, Louie. Oh,
She
now
said
she's
she's
gone.
already out. Is she there?
No, she's off again. She
Yeah.
was on. She was on. Now
Yeah.
she's off.
On and off.
So
Yeah.
okay, she says she's off.
Mm-hmm. I can say a lot about the dental stuff, but I can't say anything about military stuff. I don't even know that the India has a really good military. I thought it was the China because they have all the tools.
Actually, well, here's the thing. Okay, Chinese educational system, its weaknesses, they do not encourage creativity at all.
Oh, okay. So that's why a lot of it are imitations.
Exactly. They're great at
Mm.
trying to rip stuff off, and but they're not good at creating anything or inventing anything.
Yeah, Westerns are really good at inventing.
And
You guys.
no, I'm sure there's Filipinos that have invented things too.
Yep.
I don't know what, but but I'm sure there's some things that Filipinos invented too.
Mm-hmm.
Every ethnicity has its gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So
A lot of my friends from the Western population say that Filipinos are jolly people and warm, warm people.
yes, they are very friendly, very warm, very hospitable, and just all around in general, I think Filipino people are beautiful people.
Mm, thank you.
So you're very welcome.
Perhaps.
So, but anyway, so why are you scared of Sikior?
Oh, I wasn't actually scared at first, but the my patient of mine, she's a dean of the college of the school in front of me. She's my implant patient, and she got pretty close to me because we had long treatment procedures. Anyway, so she talked about this common friend of them, the guy, um the one of the natives in Sikihor, one of the what do you call this, inhabitant of Sikihor, o- uh developed a crush on the guy. I'm not sure if it's real because I haven't seen it, or I don't know of any medical conditions that pertains to that kind of myth. So this guy, he turns out to be he was left in Sikihor because he can't go on the boat back to Cebu or to Manila or to wherever they are going back, because whenever he goes to the boat, his stomach expands, something like that. So of course I would not be scared if there are now if there are no scientific evidence, as I am myself a scientist, and also my sisters. Anyway, so it, it's really it's alarming that a lot of my friends tell me that the Sikihor, the people there has access to uh the spirit world and the the voodoo black magic, something like that. Though it is really so, the beaches are really so good. It's even better than Maldives or anywhere else. The waters are so clear. The falls, the color of the falls is blue, almost green, something like that. There's just something in Sikihor that creeps me out because they say you can't. I haven't been there though. Maybe just because of their stories. You can't uh you can't act like Madonna in Sikihor, or else something might follow you or whatever. I don't know. I hope I'm not scared if I get there.
You'll be fine. You'll be with
I hope
Louie.
so.
Louie will protect you.
She's also scared. No, no. We have another, we're gonna travel, the three of us friends
So there's three of you
are gonna
going.
travel. Yeah.
Who's the other person going?
So she's also a dentist. She's my friend since high school. Risha,
Oh,
her name is
cool.
Richie.
Are you gonna
Yeah.
get pictures? Are you gonna shoot videos?
Yeah,
Put
of
it on YouTube?
course. Yeah, we already bought our underwater cameras and all our equipments, snorkels, aqua shoes, everything.
Awesome. You guys should have a
We don't
pillow
have a
fight.
drone. Huh?
You should have a pillow fight. A pillow
Slumber
fight.
party?
Yeah, and film it. That'd be great.
Pillow fight. Slumber party for adults.
Yeah, there you go.
More of a nature trip.
Cool. Yeah.
Always love nature.
Are
Like
you gonna
always.
drink
Hmm?
some wine or some Sam Miggs?
Of course.
Cool.
Of
You prefer
course.
Sam Mig Light, right?
I prefer wine and
Okay.
soju.
Yes. What is your favorite wine?
Oh, sangria? I'm not sure, but I love wine in general.
Sangria.
Yep.
How about like Boone's Farm?
I haven't I haven't tried room spa.
Boone's Farm. I haven't seen Mad Dog 2020 here or Thunderbird.
Mm-mm.
Those are like really like Skid Row cheap wines in the U.S. Mad Dog. That's when you're like in high school and you want to drink, or out of high
Mm.
school and you don't have a lot of money. That's what you drink.
How much is that?
I don't know. When I was growing up, God, when I was a teenager, you could get it for like a buck, $2 a bottle. I mean, it was really cheap. Seriously sweet wine. Ugh, and hangover.
How much is
A
the alcohol
serious hangover.
percentage? How much is
Well,
the alcohol
it's what's called a.
percentage?
I don't know. It's been so long. It's
Mm.
it's been so long since I've drank that stuff. I mean, it's probably been about 30 or 40 years. So
I hope I can find one and taste.
yeah, it's terrible. But
Yeah.
I like Pinot Grigio.
What's that?
It's like an Italian wine.
Oh, well, wines for me have the same taste actually.
Really?
Some are stronger, some are more bitter, but the general feeling of drinking a wine is almost the same. So I'm not sure. I'm not that sensitive to taste, so
Okay. Have you ever drank Jägermeister?
yeah. My gosh.
Did you like it?
It's like drinking denatured alcohol. Is that a whiskey? No.
It's like a liqueur, but man, I don't know what the hell they put in it because it's like 70 proof, but
Shucks.
I don't know what the heck they put in it. It's like they put some kind of opiate on it. Because I actually have a Jägermeister story.
Hmm.
This is the last time I drank Jägermeister. I was like 23, 20, 22, I believe. And
Wow, I can't. It's like
it's
drinking denatured alcohol.
one of the few times I can't remember what happened after I got drunk. But we drank Jägermeister. We drank a lot of Jägermeister. The next morning I woke up and my shirt had been partially burned, but I hadn't been burned. And I look, and I was at a friend's house, and I'm like, dude, what happened to my shirt, man? He said, dude, man, you went to light a cigarette and you lit your shirt on fire. And he says, man, dude, up until last night, I did not believe there's a God. He goes, but as you can see by your shirt, my shirt, the whole sleeve was just about burnt off, but I did not get burned at all. So, and he said, I go, I can't believe I didn't catch on fire, no
Hmm.
burned skin or nothing. He goes, dude, it's an act of God. Because, and I don't remember any of it. I was so hammered. Jägermeister will make you null and void. I always heard they put opiates in it, but,
W- How can you say so?
well, just because, 70 proof is not that strong.
It's that strong.
What's
Especially if
that?
you don't eat. It's that strong, especially if you don't eat anything.
Yeah, 70 proof. I mean, I've drank other 70 proof stuff and it never really affected. I mean, I'd get drunk, but it never affected me like that. There's just something about Jägermeister. So,
Mm.
and I don't think Popeye went to sleep because it's 12 hours behind, 13 hours behind us. He's drinking his coffee. That's what he's doing.
Okay.
Okay, we've been going now for over an hour.
Mm.
So, what would you say? No, the Gold Flakes, that would be, it's from Denmark. It's cinnamon flavored. I know exactly what he's talking about. Goldschlager. Have you ever had Goldschlager?
No, not yet.
That's like 100 proof cinnamon schnapps, and it's got gold flakes in it. It's from Denmark.
Yeah.
Goldschlager.
Okay. Not yet.
That's that's what he's thinking about.
Maybe
So,
local whiskey and stuff.
what's that?
I beer and local uh whiskey, soju and stuff.
Okay.
Mm.
So I guess we could wrap up the show now.
Yep.
And do you have anything to add?
No. Guess not.
Next week we'll talk more about the Asian summit because it'll be over by then.
Mm-hmm.
So, And
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself more informed about it.
yes, and then
Different world.
and then we could hear how happy you are that you're going to be going on vacation.
Yeah, of course. But that's the
So,
night before we go to Visayas. So let's see if I'm already prepared that night.
but then when you come back, you can tell us all about your trip.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, thank you as always, Ken. It's a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. It's also a pleasure, Baba.
Thank you, and
And
thanks as well to Louie. Well, we're sorry she has a terrible internet connection tonight, but it's really great doing the show with these two ladies.
yep.
Um, and it's also great having you guys listen in because obviously without you guys, we would be sitting here talking to ourselves. So,
Okay.
but anyway, everybody have a great night and may the sun be shining wherever you may be. And we look
Yes, you
forward to.
guys. Hi. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm just want to thank everyone who's listening and who's contributing to the conversation. And I hope you can relate to what we're talking about the next time. Until the next time.
And where's your clinic?
My clinic is located south of Alabang in Southwood City in
Okay.
Laguna. Yes.
And what's your hours? Hours of operation.
Oh, my hours is from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But um nowadays, because I have more patients than I expect, I encourage patients to set an appointment first from Mondays to Saturdays and by appointment by Sundays.
Okay. That's a good policy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Ken.
Thank you again.
Thank you. And thank you, Louie. And everybody take care. We will see you next Monday at 10 p.m. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Okay.
Mhm.